Okay, so I finished off tying off all the ends. So now I'll flip it back over. And again, I can finish separating my ribbon if you didn't do that before. And you can also move, like if you happen to see, although I think it's got pretty good coverage as far as the mesh is concerned. If you happen to see something, you could twist the mesh, move it, and kind of angle things the way you want to. So if you like a particular ribbon, you want that to be more visible, you can kind of move the ribbons around so that you actually get it the direction you want. The next thing to do is we're going to put on our sign. And I've already attached fishing line to it so that you can secure it to your wreath. So you need to figure out where you want it. With the round signs, I don't think there's really a whole lot you have to worry about. Other than maybe looking at the direction of your ho-ho-hos, making sure that they're going in a direction that you want to read them. But it doesn't matter if they're upside down either, because it actually just makes it more whimsical and fun. And, you know, this one is twisted. You could always have untwisted, or you can rework that ribbon so now it's going the right direction. So you can totally fix it. So I think I like that, because I kind of want to show off the gnomes down here, and then that gives me some gnomes over here, and I actually have some gnomes up here. So I like that. So you can start top or bottom. It doesn't make a difference. I'm going to go with the bottom because it's closer to me, right, the way this is positioned. So I'm going to take one of the fishing line twine ends, and I'm going to feed it down into my wire frame. And I'll flip this over so you can see. So I fit it through, and I've come through. I'm sure it's very hard for you to pick up on this, but it's come through right between these two here. So I'm excited that I'm actually by one of these bars, because I feel like they are good. The crossbars are a good place to tie off to. So I did a loop around that, and I'm going to come back around. So I went back down into the wire, and I'm going to flip it back over to the front side. And I feel that I'm just going to figure out where my end is and pull that through. So I feel by doing this and then coming back through the original hole actually helps to make it a little bit more secure. You don't have to. I've just found that over time with doing some of the other ones that they do might slip a little bit if I don't. So this just makes me feel more confident with it. So now I've gone back down into the hole, and I'm going to come right back down into this kind of hole in the mesh. Now that I've made this hole, I'm not worried about it, because I can totally cover that up with the ribbon once we've got everything secured. All right, so I'm going to pull that through and kind of leave that off to the side while I try the other side. And again, so I'm going to kind of find a little gap, come pull it through. Yes, working with fishing line is challenging, just because it's so clear. It's hard to see, but it does nice because again, for that reason, you don't see the ties, where if you're using like a string or something else. All right, so I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to use this here and come back through. Holding on to that sign as I flip, just because I don't want it to pull what I've done on the other side all completely through. So now with this particular sign, you're not going to want to pull real tight, because it will completely sink into your wreath unless it's exactly how you want it. I do want to sit into the wreath. I don't want it to be pulled all the way back down too deep. So that I don't want to be, when I'm pulling on my, to tie my two ends together, I just want to be cognizant of that and make sure I don't over pull. All right, so I'm feeding that back through. Nope. Try one more time. Did I already do it twice? Huh, my talking, I didn't realize I'd already gone through. Sorry about that. All right. going to pull through. Okay, so I'm going to grab that end and hopefully find my other end, which there. So I've got my two ends. So I'm going to hold that in one hand. And that's kind of good. I don't want to over tighten it too much. And I can always tuck some of the mesh underneath to help pop it up a little bit if it does kind of start to sag a tiny bit. All right, so that's a really good as far as how much to tie off. So now so you see what happened is, this one completely came undone. So I have to, no it didn't, it's just on the inside, sorry. Like I said, the fishing line is very challenging sometimes to work with because it's hard to see it. All right, so I now like to take advantage of this bar and wrap it around. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. I'm gonna kind of come So now I'm going to tie these off. So I start with one, and then I usually come around and grab a bar, and it could be any bar. This one is just the easiest. It's got a little bit more room for my fingers to fit. And I'm going to tie off again. Okay. So I'm going to do this now 3 times. So it's 1, 2, and 3. Just for good measure, I'm going to feed it under and I'm going to throw 3 more. So 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to go ahead and trim off my fishing line ends. And now I'm going to flip it over to work on the top. And I like the way that's sitting. It's got enough play. It could go down tighter, but it's good because it's sitting up. And again, we will work the ribbon and mesh so that it helps support it as well. So now I'm going on this side. So I'm going to find a hole in my mesh, and I may make a hole, and I'm going to go down, flip over. I'm going to take advantage of this crossbar. And if you have those needle nose pliers, they can come in handy too, here, in trying to catch the other side of that twine. All right, so I've gone around that. I'm going to come back up to the surface and down my rabbit hole. Okay. And then back down one more time. Okay. Now I'm going to repeat the process with this one. Try and find my both ends, flip it over. Now I know, there, okay, go back on the side of this one. Okay, I'm gonna take a swing, pass this around one more time around that crossbar. And now I'm gonna tie off. So I got the first one kind of thrown. I want to check it one more time. Making sure it's where I want it. Not too pulled in too tight, but just enough. Okay, so I'm gonna pull on this, but I'm not gonna pull too terribly hard because I don't want it to cinch down tighter than where it is right now. So that's my first to pass, my second. And now by my third, I can pull a little tighter. And again, I'm gonna wrap this around and do 3 more. Just fishing line sometimes can slip, particularly if you don't tie a square knot. So that's why I do it this way. And then I don't have to worry about tying square knots. All right, trim that. Little long pieces. There's one over here. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna flip it back over one more time. Okay. I like that. So now I can tuck my mesh, because the mesh is a little bit more oomph to it than the ribbon, in the sense that it will pop things up. And that way you can kind of, like this black is completely twisted. So I can totally pull that and turn it. So, and some of these you can move along, so you can totally move it to where you need it. I think I kind of like the red under that. You can see how you can play with that ribbon to get it where you want it. So that's what we're going to kind of do, is just work the ribbons. And you just keep doing this until you get it the way you want it. And even when you think you got it the way you want it, you probably will look at it and go, I'd like to change that when it gets up on the wall. And that's totally fine. Again, it's just, and if you find like pipe cleaners are showing or anything like that, you just move the ribbon to kind of feel more like so. All right, this guy's kind of tucked in. There. Okay, and you can even tuck the ribbon behind your sign. So now I've got that. You did get one more item, which was a little wire like this. And this is going to be how you create a little hook. Now you don't have to use this. You could completely hang it via the rings on the back. But I do like to use the hook, and I usually use it with a little 3M hook. So usually what I do is try and figure out about center so that it would hang straight. And then I will flip it over, and I just so happen to have that there, so I'll go right next to it. And you can also, so like I said, you can just use the metal here to hang. You don't have to use this, but I do like to use it. So I'm going to kind of twist and have it come through. And then on this one, I'll probably come through and around. And you will be able to move this around. And if it's not quite, with this being, you know, if this was exact center, that's okay, because you can actually then angle your hook so that it angles over that. Now this is again where the needle nose pliers do make it easier, but you saw that I was able to bend the wire with my own fingers. This just allows you to get a little tighter. Okay, what I was saying about having, if you need to angle it more, you could do like that, or even the mesh does move still on that. So now you have your completed wreath. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it brings you lots of joy through the holidays, and I hope you have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. And let's hope that the next year will be a lot better than this one. But anyway, so thank you so much for purchasing one of my kits. I hope you enjoy it, and thank you.